Subtraction quiz. So subtraction of fractions. So first thing we're going to start with is the beginning process is the same. We need to get a common denominator. So we're starting out with 7/10. We're going to minus 3/5. The common denominator between 5 and 10 is 10 because I know if I multiply 5 times 2, I can get tenths. So I'm going to have that stay the same. And I need to multiply this side by 2. So 7 minus 6 is 1. My tenths will stay the same. All right. Let's take a look at problem 2. You might want to pause it and try this on your own first and see how they do. We have 1 and 1/6 minus 2/3. Common denominator between 6 and 3 is going to be 6. So I'm going to bring this one down. It's ready to go. This one I need to multiply it by 2, the numerator and the denominator. 2 times 2 is 4. Now, we cannot do 1 minus 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to break it into 6 parts. And I'm going to add it to this. So my 1 whole would be 6 over 6. So when I add it to my 1/6, I'm going to get 7/6. So now my 1 and 1/6 is equal to 7/6. And I need to subtract 4/6. 7 minus 4 is 3. And the denominator stays the same. I could also reduce this. I know that 3 goes into 3 one time and 3 goes into 6 2 times. Okay. So that could be also 1/2. The next one, 2 biking trails. The marsh trails, 5 3/10 miles long. Woodland trails, 2 4/5 miles long. How much longer? So we're going to take the 5 3/10 minus the 2 4/5. Common denominator is 10. So this one is perfectly fine for now. I'm going to whole number's fine. Multiply this one by 2 to get my denominator as a 10. Okay, I can do my whole numbers, but I cannot do my numerators. I cannot take 8 from 3. So once again, I'm going to take 1 away from my wholes. That's going to become 4. Since this is tenths, I need to add 10 to the top. So 1 that I took away would be 10/10 plus 3/10 would be 4 13/10. And then I need to subtract 2 8/10. So 4 minus 2 is equal to 2. 13 minus 8 is equal to 5. And the denominator stays the same. Also, I notice I can also reduce this again. 5 goes into 5, 5 goes into 10. Whole number stays the same. I'm just going to reduce that 5/10 into 1/2. So I divided by 5 and divided by 5 there. So it is 2 1/2 miles longer. Next, this was probably the hardest question. So Jenna and Yvonne practice the high jump. Jenna can jump 2 2/3 feet. Yvonne can jump 3 5/12 feet. Decide if each equation can be used to find how much Yvonne jumps than Jenna. So first, let's put these in the correct order. Let's move this one over here. 3 5/12. The first thing is this is not even an option. This is the right equation, but none of these are in that format. So first thing we need to do is see the common denominator between 12 and 3. We know that 3 times 4 is 12, so that's going to be our common denominator. And I multiplied the numerator and the denominator by 4, so I'm going to get 2 8/12. So that is an option. So A is going to be a yes. Next, I know that I cannot subtract the 5 minus the 8. So I'm going to go ahead and borrow from the whole number. That's going to be a 2. I'm going to cut that one piece up into 12 pieces, my whole one. So I have a 12 over 12. So I need to add that to my 5 twelfths. So I'm going to have 2 and 17 twelfths minus 2 and 8 twelfths. And that is not on there either. So what I'm going to do is, so if you subtracted that, you would get 17 minus 8 is 9 twelfths. So now we need to look at these other answers to see which of these would work. So 3 and 14 over 24. So if I took my 3 and 5 twelfths and I multiplied that to get 24ths, I would have times 2. I would have 3 and 10 24ths. So that is not a good answer. Down here, so that is 3, because this is equal to 1. So I know that's not going to be a good answer. So then let's go to this one, 36. So I look at I got to change these to 36. So I had 12. So I need to change that to 36. So let's start here. It was 3 and 5 twelfths. And so we borrowed 1 first off, made it 2, 12 twelfths. So 2 and 17 twelfths. And then they multiplied by 3. And they got 2, 36. And then 3 times 7 is 21. So that would be 51. So that would work for the beginning. Let's check the end. So we have 36, 2 and 24, 36. So I started off, let's go to this one. So I had right here, I had 2 and 8 twelfths. So let's go to there. And then I'm going to multiply it. So I still have the 2, so I don't have to worry about borrowing anything. I just need to get the 12 to the 36. So that's going to be a times 3 and a times 3. So I have 2 fulls. That stays the same. 12 times 3 is 36. 8 times 3 is 24. So that is the same answer. So when you look at it carefully, it's a tricky one. We had to do a couple steps there. We had to change our 2 and 5 twelfths because we won the 2 in the front, and then it was improper fraction. So we had to see how many times that our 12 times the 36. All right. So we changed it to 2 and 17 twelfths, and then we had to multiply by 3 to get our 36 and 51. Number 5, we had, let's look at it, 1 1/4 minus 3/8. Common denominator, 4 and 8. I know 4 times 2 equals 8, so I'm just going to write it times 2 there. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. I know I cannot do 2 minus 3, so I need to cut this one up into 8 pieces, because that was what the first fraction is. So I'm going to have 10/8 minus 3/8. Denominator stays the same. 10 minus 3 is 7. So that one's going to be 7/8. A polar bear. A male is 2 and 7/9. A female is 1 and 5/6. Sydney thinks the male polar bear is 1 2/3 meter longer than the female polar bear. Is she correct? Let's start out with 2 and 7/9 minus 1 and 5/6. Common denominator is going to be 9. 6 times nothing gives me 9. Our whole number. 9 times 2 is 18. 6 times 3 is 18. So I'm going to make my common denominator 18. So I'm going to take my 9 times my 2, my 7 times my 2. 6 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So then I need to subtract. Before I do this, I'll see that I cannot take 15 for 14, so I want to borrow. So that's going to be 18 over 18. So 18, 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry my 1, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 32. 18 plus 14 is 32. Minus my 1. Forgot to put my 1 there. And 15th, 18th will stay the same. 1 minus 1 is 0. 32 minus 15 is 17. 18 stays the same. So my answer is 17/18 meters. Sydney thinks the polar bear is, so what she probably did Sydney probably said 2 minus 1 is 1, 7 minus 5 is 2, 9 minus 6 is 3. So she did not get a common denominator. She did not borrow from the whole numbers. So she just subtracted without a common denominator. So that's how you explain that. So she just did 2 minus 1 is 1, 7 minus 5 is 2, 9 minus 6 is 3. But we cannot subtract 6 from ninths. So you need the common denominator. So good practice for a couple days. So get ready for the test. Keep practicing, practicing, practicing. Subscribe to the channel for email updates. As soon as videos posted, you will be alerted. And keep working hard, guys.